5 reasons why I believe wholeheartedly that modern women cannot be faithful in a long-term relationship. 5 reasons why I really don't believe that modern women can be capable of staying faithful in a long-term relationship or marriage for that matter. You know, um, Muskin Post, welcome to the channel. For the most part, we lived in society that had perimeters, rails, guardrails, if you will. So the first thing is the fear of God. That's the first reason, the fear of God. Now, the fear of God is less. We got less religion, right? Back in the day, we know that when prayer was in the churches, I said prayer was in the schools. There was less crime. There was this sense of ethics, right? So when I say the fear of God, I mean that there was a communities moved with that idea that God was watching them. So people were reprimanded. People would do God's work by saying, "Sister, don't do this. Don't dress like this. Don't do that." You know what I mean? You ain't gonna go outside looking like this. So the fear of God, the guardrail of that has been removed. So the church was more. We're not saying the church was perfect, no, but there was a fear of God because people had that God factor in their lives. So that's what kept a lot of women in check because there was how they're gonna perceive me, how they're gonna look at me, you know, society shined on it. Reason number two is the law. The law now has made it they're in cahoots with chaotic women. So I'll give you an example. If a woman cohabitates with a man, she can get what's the word? Common law marriage, which is de facto or something like that. So she can walk away with some type of payment for cohabitating with a man, even if they're not legally married. So there's a financial incentive for her to be with the man and leave the man because she can leave with something. So the law in itself favors it leans to the women's chaotic nature. And because the law is on our side, it's almost like when you are a small person, you have limited powers, you're not going to start a fight. But if you got a big brother or several big brothers, you can go and start anybody because you're going to call your big brother. So women have the government on their side. So now, if they're in a marriage and they feel any ounce of desire to leave, they're going to leave. And the sisterhood is going to be supporting of that because the law supports women to be degenerate. So the women can rally around ideologies that are not healthy. Ain't nobody going to check them on that because government put things in place like, oh, you can't shame a woman, you can't shame her, you cannot. So the shame and then the law. So the guardrails of the God factor, and then the law. And the other reason is I got my list over here. It's an open market. An open market is that the average woman would have access to the average men who are around her. Now with a smartphone, dudes be in her DMs who are far away offering to fly her out. What would that do for you as a woman, as far as the ego is concerned? Some guy, some stranger overseas is willing to fly me over there, even if it's just for a rendezvous, just for a little hit it and quit it type of thing. It's gonna pump this ideology that they're better than the anybody else in that community because when somebody's putting money um, down on your table like that, it's gonna look like you're really about something. You really something yourself. So when you have that on the table, it means that whatever relationship you have in front of you, you're not gonna prize it like people prized it before. Because let's look at relationship like water. Let's say you're in a wilderness, in a desert, in a wilderness, and then you finally find a source of water, an oasis. Okay, you're gonna value that because you are thirsty, you're hungry, and you finally found where you can quench your thirst. That's what relationship used to represent to a lot of women. Now, because the market is open, it's a global market, it feels like there's oases everywhere. Now, of course, men are different. A lot of women will have this sense of, oh, I lost one person that was good and everything else. But the thing is they can replace it. They don't even have to suffer with the with being alone, or let life teach them a lesson. Maybe when they're older, but the market is open, so it's hard to be faithful when you're in a marriage and guys are hitting you up. It's an open market with social media. Social media. If let's say a girl had her first love and it was traumatic, bad and bad, but there was some good sex there, she stays in contact with her ex. She's now in a new relationship. That man still exists. It's hard to be faithful when that, because every now and then she may have just a bad day with the current man. She has a bad situation. She's gonna run back to what is comfortable, what she remembers. She may forget the stuff that maybe the dude used to beat her up. She may forget all of that just because he used to put it down real good. So now the new man does not have access to her the way the ex used to have to. You used to have access to her. Back in the day, let's say this happened to her. You moved towns. That was the end of that. Never to be heard from or seen ever since. But now all the exes, all the crushes are there. And sometimes the crush just wants to hit your woman because you're with her. He just wants to hit your woman because he knows you're with her. So he just, I'm bored. Hey, what's up? How you doing? And because it was hard crash, she would do whatever it is. Women are not exactly faithful to marriage when something is a burning desire in their hearts. So that's another reason. That's the third reason. Or the open market. Fourth, like I say, social media. Social media is that's the fourth reason. Social media is the thing that it's the devil. For women, it's literally because any woman, and I'll say any woman, has a connect that they shouldn't have while they're in a relationship. They have a connection with the male that they really should not have. And it's easy to do because it could be a high school lover, it could be a teacher that used to like her, a professor, it could be an ex. They have those. Now, how you gonna be faithful with your woman, right? If all this there is there, it's not like you don't need to do too much. We don't need to go to the CIA or the FBI to at least track this person down. No, it's all there for you. So now you are not going to exercise the capacity to fight for a relationship because your discipline levels don't have to apply. You can just run to this and run to that. It's almost like a child when you're co-parenting with the parent. The child will go to the parent that's easiest on them. Like, oh, mommy's never, if your father says you will not use your phone, the child gonna run to the mother because the mother lets the child use the phone. You know what I mean? Like that's just that. So it's a hard thing for modern women to be faithful because in social media, the ex is there, the memory is there, and people do not have they do not have like some guys don't care to bang your married woman if she's married and she's in your relationship. They don't care. So with that, I'll give that was the fourth reason, social media. The fifth reason, which is the glamorization of this kind of romanticization of this ideology of being unfaithful. You look at those rom-coms, right? Woman's married and the husband's boring. He just does a regular job. Let's say he's a plumber, goes to work. He comes home tired, and she's young and she's frisky and she wants some love. And girls be like, "Yeah, you go, girl. You're gonna get your get your freak on." So then she meets a young lover, and then they just bang on the train, and they bang in the bathroom, bang in the park. That's romanticized, and society is accepting of that, and the system is approving of that. So what does mean that this woman is running these programs? She has no fear of the Most High. She has no guardrails of the fear of the community because there's no recommendation, and the community represents a lot of women that want to do these things anyway. They don't mind to walk away from a marriage because the law rewards them. That's point number two. And it's an open market because there's guys as far as India, you can have a guy from Dubai who's got a ton of money. He's like, hey, I just want to hit that for the weekend. He'll fly you over just for that Saturday. And then, of course, it's glamorized. So now, the woman that looks at all these and stands her ground says, I will be faithful to the marriage. I will be faithful in a relationship. She is like, people use the word unicorn. She has to be a being, a super being. How is that? Because literally all the things that could aid her to do the wrong things and they're looked at in a positive light in the community are there for her. And think about a long-term marriage. Think about a marriage. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. She has children. She has some depression. 4 years. And the man, oftentimes, when you're doing a marriage, you settle into a routine. You're not going to be bringing out new game and so forth. You are not. It's just like that's the way life goes. Think about like farming. You're farming the land. You plant the seed. Crops. You water them. Then they reach harvest season. You harvest. It becomes a routine, and women don't like that. So now they're going to seek out. I'm bored. I venture. I feel neglected. 5 year in, at some point she gonna give. So how is she gonna be faithful? How is the faithfulness gonna happen? Especially if the vows are to death do us part. Where's the faithfulness gonna come from? Okay, let's say you travel for work, you're gone. There's Tony over there, the ex. He just broke up with his wife. He wants to talk to her. It's impossible for more women to be faithful. Yes, of course, there's those who are faithful. I'm not saying they aren't, but the package is there and more. Especially the case of where somebody used to hit it and then they broke up, and then sometimes maybe she regrets it. She doesn't remember the bad parts, and that's what's going on. And her girlfriends don't mind to, like, girls will lie on each other. It's like they'll say, hey, go and get with him. Your man's doing this. He's not treating you right. Oh, especially man fall on hard times, financial hard times. And then she's looking at Instagram posts of her ex doing very well. Girls don't do well with being in adversity while this man is doing very well. Who used to hit me? Why not just give it? Why not just give him some box and get some of that cash? It's an impossibility. So for men wishing to be in marriages, I swear, those of you who are in good marriages, I'm not saying there's no good women out there, but I'm telling you that the percentage is so tiny, very tiny. Because why would a woman be in a routine? It's monotonous when she could have her, the movies show her she could have a little. And these young guys out there who just want to hit it. There's no commitment, and they love it because I don't have the burden of the relationship. And the woman feels, oh, well, I was neglected. Well, like, there's no accountability, right? On the woman's side, she don't have accountability. So how's she gonna feel? She don't feel bad. And if she get divorced, she takes some of your stuff. She gets to restart. I said enough. Go ahead, let's subscribe and share. Let's get this information out. Let's band together. All right, peace, love, and blessings.